All right, so when I looked at like a lot of the grades and stuff, the one thing that I have it set up, I don't have it set up to put zeros in there if you miss an assignment. So it may show your percentage on your grade is passing. But at the end, if you're totally missing assignments, those will turn to zeros. So it adds into your percentage. So I don't know, especially I know my online students, I was looking at some of those, and you know, it may be that they think they're passing because the percentage says that. But I try to give students right to the end to submit something in those missing assignments, so I don't turn them to zero, if that makes sense. So that those points aren't adding into your total until they're actually either a zero or a grade there. So if you go back and any of those that you have not submitted that were due, past due, you can still submit those. And the reason I'm bringing all this up now is because next week is when the final drop day is, and I only have I think two or three students in this class, I don't think they attend regularly, that are actually, you know, not passing right now. But I did want to bring that up because that drop date is pretty important. Yes.
So the drop date, is that like the final?
Yeah, it's the final date that you can drop.
Well, it's like I knew that and it not be counted against you.
That's it.
Okay, it's not on your grade, it's not on your transcript.
That's correct. Okay. That's the 15th of November. Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up, and I don't want any of you to drop without talking to me that are coming to class all the time and you believe your understanding. If it looks like you don't have a passing grade, talk to me, because by this time you've put in a lot of work and time, so you don't want to drop it unless it's going to be a bad grade. Yes. And
so when you say you leave a lot of these open, even the ones that say zero, and when are they open till?
Well, actually, I leave them open until the week before finals, and then I don't want any of those way past. But like, yeah, and so I don't remember. Yeah, I did put in this. I think I covered this last time. This little post announcement that I put up here. Oh, it's not got me logged in. Just a second. So that if somebody wasn't in class, test 3 is going to be Wednesday, which is next Wednesday, a week from today. And even though the project 3 will be due by 9:30 next Monday for this class by online, it's a little different because they don't get to see this class until later. But if you don't post it by 9:30, and we go over it in class, then you still can post it. You just won't get full credit, you know. So that's so next Monday. Is that right? We'll have okay. That's the test. That is the 3rd. Yeah, and the reason I'm doing that is because then I will cover Project 3 Monday in class, and any questions that you might have about the test, which will be given on Wednesday. And today I'm going to talk some about that too, a little bit before we work on Project 3. We're going to look at a couple of problems that I want to make sure everybody's understanding how to do. And if you're not, then I can help some of you individually. And I'm going to try to, I'll probably let y'all out a little bit early today. So, because we're just going to work on some stuff. Then, but these dates are important because I talked about how our Thanksgiving week is a week late this year. Yes.
Okay, so this is something that's been running through. In the note it says up there.
Mm-hmm.
There are only 4 tests total for this class.
That's correct.
Including the final, everything. Right?
You don't yet. There's 4 tests that you're required. The final. Well, it's kind of the final for everybody that takes all 4. Mm-hmm. Because test 4 will be just like the final, but if you have to take the final to replace a 0 grade, or maybe you just had a grade that you would like to replace of those 4 tests. The final will be just like test 4, but a different problem. But it will be a similar concepts. Okay. So go ahead.
Take test 4, we don't have to take the final.
That's if you've taken test 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you don't have any zeros in those, then no, you do not have to take the final. Does that make sense? Yeah, understand. So, and the way our calendar is this year, that's why I was telling you, it's finals week doesn't start on a Monday, and that's what makes it kind of weird. And so Thanksgiving week is this week. So that means next Wednesday, which will be the 13th, we'll take test 3. Then we'll come back, which actually on Monday, I'm going to open up unit 6 for you to work on after the test that weekend. And so the test, we'll start covering unit 6 in MindTap, which is arrays. And also we're going to cover reading a data file in instead of user input. But that will start this week. So we'll have 2 class periods here before Thanksgiving. And then we'll have Thanksgiving week. And then we'll have 2 more class periods to work on the rest of unit 6. We probably will not get to unit 7. I probably won't require that. And there's 7 chapters in your book. But actually, if you have the, I can't remember if it shows you all the comprehensive chapters or not. But anyway, so then actual finals start on the 11th of December, which is normally one of our regular class days. So I'm going to determine, like, by here whether the class is ready for test 4 on Monday, or if we still need some more review. And if we do, then we'll take test 4 on the first day of finals, which is the 11th. So if you have, you need to, if you have any other classes in the morning, finals week, the finals are scheduled at weird times. And so normally ours probably is not on that Wednesday. I haven't looked up the test dates. So if you were to have another final at 9:30, you need to let me know and I'll reschedule yours. Otherwise, I'm planning on test 4 being here, and then those that have to take or choose to take the final will see me after this, and we'll schedule when they can take the final. Okay, is that way confusing, or go ahead?
Also, are you going to go back into MindTap and check the coding sessions?
Yes, I will. I will do that before the final grade. I may not get all of those done, but I'll let you so that you'll know what your score is before you take test 4. Okay, I'll try to get that done. I got all the others done this week, I think, but I didn't get the MindTap stuff.
Right, yeah.
Corrected, but we're going to go in, like, if yours are on unit 5 that you're still getting 0%, that's one of the things that I want to help y'all with today individually, okay? And so that may, if there's other units, we can look at them too, because I think we'll have time. But I wanted to get that kind of explained because this is different than most finals week. So actually, if you have other finals week actually goes until the 17th this year. December 17th is the last official day of finals. But some people every semester, especially if it's your first year of college, don't understand that during finals week, you don't have regular class periods. So like Wednesday, the 11th, we're not really scheduled to have class because that starts the first day of finals, unless that's our normal final day time. And I've got to look that up because they used to be, it used to be in the back of the schedules, and since we don't have printed schedules anymore, I have to always search for it and find it. So, but your other classes should be telling you. Do you have finals? Anybody have finals in their other test classes? Okay, Jamie does. Okay, so do any of y'all meet on Wednesday that you?
trying to get
Okay,
the-
I'll look the final schedule up and then I'll know what date ours is in writing that we're supposed to have it or print, okay? And then I'll know if there's any overlap. If there is, then then the test 4 you'll have to take on the 9th because on Monday. All right, so hopefully that kind of helps some things. Okay, so now the other thing that I wanted to do is on, how many of you have completed project 3? Jamie, anybody else? Okay, so what I want you to do, I don't want anybody to do it for you, but if you can work with somebody, I don't have a problem with that. It's just that when you get on the test, it's you and you alone. So if you work with somebody, be sure that you understand and aren't just, you know, copying what they have to get the grade, because yeah, you'll get the grade, but you won't. The test is worth a lot more points. And so you just want to be sure that you understand what the project is about. So is there anyone that has a question about project 3 after they read it, or anybody hasn't started on it at all and I could let you spend some time? Jamie?
My question has to do with, like, because it says that it needs to be a nested loop. I didn't know if it needed to be more than like nested in a while loop, like a full loop nested in a while loop, or more for loops nested within each other.
I think I gave you the option of either or. I think.
I did the for loop nested in a while loop, and I used an if else statement inside the for loop.
Okay. Okay. Let me look at what the problem says again, because
I know I probably didn't do this one like the way it's supposed to be done, because I was having issues trying to get, like, I could get it to work.
well, I can look at yours and see, because that's why I want to work independently and let everybody come up with while loop for the outer loop. It says okay. I was thinking that's what it said, and then your nested loop can be a for loop. Did I specify it needed to be a? Okay, so if some students have a hard time. Okay, so on project, but I do think on the test, I give you an option because some students just really struggle with the for loop. So I think I give you the option because when you take script programming, you have to learn for loops. And for loops will become more, you'll understand them better too when we get to arrays, because they work the best for arrays. But okay, so did that answer your question then, Jamie, when he read that? Okay, all right. So are there any other problems? Oh, here's what I was going to go over. One of the MindTap problems is called left or right, and it's real similar also to what will be on your test, because on your test also go back, and if you kept test number 2, part of test number 2, you know, that's the way I do the test. I try to build on where you modify a program that you've written before. So be sure that if you don't have the corrected test number 2, like when we went over it in class, go back and watch the video and get the correct test number 2, because that will help you with test number 3. Okay. All right. So let's go here into this one on MindTap real quick, and then I'll let you all. And if you all don't, if you're just wanting to work on your project 3, you don't have any problems with MindTap, then feel free to do that. But I know some of you, I know like Lane and there's some others had some problems with the MindTap, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't check all the things. I mean, I copied and pasted all the stuff that was already that you put in the thing.
Okay, well, let me go here and look, because there is some logic in here that I want to go over. Oh, actually, I don't have to go into MindTap to do it because I have it right out here. Okay, so this one, and if there's another one, we can look at it. but what you're saying is you copied and pasted it, but I want to make sure that we understand, because this logic is what's going to be on the test. So like there was one here, it was called left or right, and you had to, it asked you to input lefts, if you're left-handed, and L, and we're going to do something with this program. We're going to change it to so that I can modify it and show you kind of what an example test 3 is going to look like, okay? So this one, it told us this program calculates the total number of left-handed and right-handed students in a class. So how many did not get this one to run 100%? You remember this one? Okay, Lainey didn't, and all of a sudden, okay, and Ty, you didn't either. Okay, so let's look at this one, and then I can go back and look at y'all's too. But this one, you were supposed to have 2 accumulators, really, is what these 2 variables are. They're accumulators, right total and left total, and they just initialize them both to 0. Remember, Python doesn't require you to do that, but all other languages do, because you want to start out with a variable that you're going to be adding to. You want to know that has nothing in it to start with. And you're going to have an accumulator like that on your test too. So you want to be sure that when you're summing something or you're adding to it or accumulating, that it starts out with 0. So they're going to, before the while loop, ask for input. So this is called your priming input, right? It's the one that has to be before every while loop. And is this loop a definite or an indefinite loop? It's indefinite, right? Because you're going to keep asking for input until, I think it's an X is entered, right? Yeah, or X to quit. So this particular loop, you've got to have a input statement here. And why do I need the input statement here? Why do I have it in 2 places? Why do I need, in a while loop, what's important? You have to have 3 things. You have to have your control variable, which is what this is called. Why is it called a control variable? Controls what? The while loop. It controls the while loop, whether I'm going to keep going through it. So I have the control variable initialized here. Then I have a test of my while. And then at the bottom, I have to alter my control variable, right? So those 3 things have to be in every loop. Even if it's a for loop, it's just done differently. It's done all in the for statement, right? So we're going to run this because what this says, okay, it has my initialized, then it starts my while loop, and it tests my input variable. Now, why did I not put int in front of this one? It's not an integer. This is a character, and you can tell because it's in quotes, right? So it's a string. So when I input L or R or X, it's going to test my while loop. The first time it says while left or right is not equal to X. And then I always have to have a colon. And one thing when I was working with Ty after class the other day is that you wonder when to put a colon in a call of a function. And we're going to talk about that in a minute too. But here we have while left or right is not equal to X, colon. Just like in our if statement, we have to have that. Then this is called the body of the loop, right? Is this inside the body of the loop? This last alter of the control variable? Is it inside the body? If I can turn this so y'all, that you still can't see, can you? Ty was looking. Can you see it? Ty?
I can, yeah. Probably about 3/4 of the screen.
You guys need to move over to the side.
It keeps telling me that.
Well, let's see if we can understand the logic. Do you have this logic down here? Do you have this in the right place?
Yeah,
Indented in the right place? Because this needs to be lined up with the if and the elif. Now this else is inside this nested if else, right? So we have,
that's what keeps happening is it's saying that my else isn't in the right place, but I don't know where else it's supposed to be.
okay, so this else needs to be lined up with this left and right, where it says left or right, same as R, and right total. And that's what I really think is bad in Python, because you're trying to learn the logic and they make all these indents be right. In every other language, indents don't matter. It just makes it easier to read. That's why they do it, because they're saying this else goes with this if, but it's an elif. So if it lines up, you can put else colon if, in a line below, if that makes more sense or if it works. So I'll look at your line up here in just a second. So these are the three parts that are important. So, because we're going to do something with the body of this loop here in just a second. All right, so if I run this, it's only going to print out at the bottom. Is this part of my body of my loop, these two print statements? No, because I want to print those out after I'm finished looping and calculating how many left-handed students and how many right-handed students, right? So how many don't have this working? I know Lane doesn't. Joseph, who else doesn't? Okay, Brennan and Zachary. Okay, so do you see all this? Y'all have this coded in. Okay, so then we'll come and look at yours and see what happens. So on this one, we're gonna run it and it should work. Oh, look, mine says invalid syntax somewhere. Let's see where. Okay, that's what you were getting, right? Is this else? So it looks like I barely have this right total over, and that may be what this one is. I don't know. Let me see if this does it. We'll try it. Nope. It's still not liking it. Let's see. L if R. Well, I know one thing to. Did anybody get the L if to work in here? Yours did, Jamie? Do you see?
I have all of the if and elif and else, all of those are lined up.
So you have this else. Okay, so probably this needed to go back. Maybe. I don't know. You have this over here. So that would mean this goes, now, I don't know. It's hard to tell where that's supposed to go. Okay, let's try that and see what happens. That's it. Okay, try that, Lane. Do you see what we did? Lined up the else. Jamie had hers lined up, and the right total has to be lined up with the left total instead of with left or right. So now I should be able to put, I don't know how many it want me to do. Left, left, I don't know, I may do right, left, and then I'll get out. So it should tell me that there are 4 lefts and 4 rights. Yes, it did it, right? So I know they gave you a different ones to try. Now, are you guys working? Okay. All right. So that was partially my fault. The one I gave you all, I didn't have that lined up. So the else, if you're doing an elif, it still has to be, the else has to be lined up, because if I did it as an else and then an if else, I think it would go like this. Let me see if that, I think that's right. Let me, if you didn't do the elif, I think it would go lined up like that. Yeah, that worked too. So if all else fails, whenever you're trying it and you can't get the elif lined up right, well, you always know that ifs and else have to be lined up. You always need to know that, because if this else goes with this if, then it needs to be lined up. And then this if and this else. So when I was doing the elif, I didn't have my else lined up with the if portion. And that's why it was giving me the error. And that's a Python thing. That has nothing to do with logic. And logic is what I'm really most concerned with in this class. Did you still not work?
The program's working with the checks out. Okay.
Number of left-handed students by, what does it say on show details? Did you change any of the out and the?
Not all of it.
So, your LF segments and some of that,
Yeah, that needs to be.
Okay. Sometimes there's some little space or something in there, and
I didn't touch any of this.
yeah, I know. The way MindTap is though, I mean, up here, the part that you typed in, it may be showing that it's this. Did you put the exact output that it asked for? You know what I mean? What? Yeah, because it said it came out like this, what it wanted. What did it say down there? Test case. Simulation of test two. Real test.
you the wow statement, like
So,
the, statement statement.
okay, I'll just have some pictures. Did anybody else still have trouble with it? Not giving you all the checks for 100%?
Correctly. So what I would do is I
Lane's
would back
didn't
them
give
off
it her
all the way
all.
to the other line, and then enter down and indent. So see how it sets it where it's
Yeah,
supposed to
see,
be
this-
indented?
Yeah, and then this needs to be done for here because it's
Right.
inside, yeah, because it's inside there.
But
But you should use the tab. What are you saying, Jim?
his indents, whenever he first had it, they're off, like the elif and the else are underneath the if.
Oh,
So
yeah, they're
if you
long.
back it all the way off to that line right there.
This
so-
first one,
Yeah, just back it all the way off to that line,
and then just,
and then tab over,
Back.
and then go to the next line
Do
down.
the same thing.
yeah,
Yes.
every one of
But yeah,
this
every
one.
single one of the ones.
You'll have to do it to this one too. Left hand. Yeah, if you get your lines off, I don't know. Here's what's. See, these, they do help you in MindTap by showing those red lines, but
That way, they're all.
Yeah, those are all.
so if you ever have trouble,
But you
like
need
this,
to
you
make sure
have
that
the
the other
one.
in between, so when
And then if
the
you have
left
this
total
all the
goes,
way
so do the
over
exact same thing. where you
and
back
have it
all the way
one
off
or
and
two.
tab it over.
Oops.
Thank you.
And then I just finish this last part.
Okay, this isn't, this should be underneath. I don't know if that's gonna cause you any, if that could cause you any problem. Oh, that's because you're outside.
In that indent statement, you want to make sure that it's writing in one.
But it won't when you check start. I don't get any check done for some reason.
That's because you got to put these in.
But one, you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't do it by itself if the program is on there.
No, it shouldn't. No, you still have to put those in again. Every time you run it, you've got to do that. That's why it's not doing it. So after you fixed it, you should have, yeah, that's why yours isn't working. No, you have, that's, yeah, you have to run them every single time.
Yeah.
So I'm already down to line 2 and 3.
Okay, see, now this is still, else. Yeah. Else. Okay, this one here, see when there's that red line? That means it's in the wrong spot. So you have to go back here, all the way over, and then tap it.
Okay, I can do
There.
that.
Now,
Okay.
you see it showing your else.
You press things.
Now it's in the right spot. Now this one.
I don't think.
And then obviously this problem right here helps fix the rest.
Yeah,
The
try
rest
that.
of it.
Another shot. Okay, that one's the same line.
Line 2,
Oh, okay, so you have that,
This.
you have the output statements, correct? And then.
Oh, that's.
I think I did it. I put increases. Yep.
It's loud. Press that button again, over there. And then don't press enter after it closes.
Yeah,
Because
override
it's
because
in an
the-
infinite
yeah,
loop.
right. Okay.
If you have to, you just close out of it and save it too, because it saves everything that you've done.
That needs to have a closing. Or safety.
Still not working.
There you go. Now,
So is this supposed to be lined up with
You
this?
need to tap this
okay,
one through.
maybe it's because they wanted to.
I'll try that.
But then you don't have,
Oh.
oh, wait, not there. Put that as back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then up here, was that and now live. What was yours? Did you find hers?
There was an indent error, like she had bit.
She had an indent error too. I think that's what's wrong. Okay, so now you have to take this if off and put that left or right without the colon. Make that whole line. You don't have to change all this. Make, just keep backspace until that line
Okay.
goes up to that arrow. Okay, take
Now
the
it should
colon.
work.
Okay, now, make, this has got to go,
Yeah.
make it go all
All
the
the
way up
way
there.
back and then tap.
Yeah. Right there.
Okay.
And now take that else and tap back. It's got to go
Okay,
back.
I'm not ready.
They want tap once. Okay. And then print. And tap. Okay, let's see. There you go.
Okay.
Now try it and see if you can get it right. Okay.
Now, one thing that I want to do on this problem, and I know it doesn't have you do this inside of MindTap. Now, you guys got yours, right? Zachary, and you got yours, right? Okay, so I want everybody to pull this up, and I'm going to say, like how we did in the project, we have, this is our outer loop. I want to take the if-else portion, which I'm going to leave the alter of the control variable still inside my while loop, but I want to create a function for this part. Okay? So if you don't have this outside of MindTap, I want you to copy and paste it into idle or PyCharm, and we're going to do that together. Because I want to see how many can do this. All right, this will help you with the test. So if you don't have this, either you can open it or you can copy and paste it out of your MindTap, or you can take that Unit 5 zip file that I gave you, and it has it in there. So either way. If you want to do it with us and you want me to wait because you're not ready yet, let me know. Otherwise, if you, it's the one called left or right in that Unit 5 zip file. So right here, it's called left or right.py. I know there's one called left or right invalid, and I'm not sure why it's different, but anyway, this one is the one that I'm looking at, left or right.py. And just make sure that it's got the indents correct. Well, we're going to make them different anyway. So we're going to name a function right up here at the top. So we're going to start, how do we start a function? DEF for define. And then we're going to name it. And so this one is going to be the one that determines which left or right accumulator total it goes into. So I'm just going to call it total LR. That's what I'm going to name it, okay? Total LR. And I don't know if I'm going to have to pass anything yet, so I'm just going to name it that, make a few lines here. And now I want all of the body of my loop except for the control variable where it's altered at the bottom. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to take this out. So I'm going to Command X. And then I'm going to put it in right here, but I'm probably going to have to change. Maybe not. It looks like it copied it correctly. And right now, I don't know that I'm going to have anything to return, so I'm just going to put return on it. I'm going to have to check and see what I need to do to make my function work. So now I've pulled that code out. So what do I need to put in right here in my while loop?
You could make a call back to it.
Very good, Ty. That's what you learned the other day, right?
Mhm.
So the name of it is total LR. Now, it's a function, so I'll put these, but I don't ever need a colon in my call. I only need the colon up here when I define it, okay? So now the only thing that's in my while loop is the call to the function and my alter of my control variable, right? So I still have my initialize control variable, test of my control variable in my outer loop, and I don't actually have a nested loop here. I just have a call to a function which takes the place of the body of my loop, right? And then I have my control variable here at the bottom. Okay, so what I need to see for sure is when I go up here and make this call to total LR, I don't really have left or right because I've input it down here, right? Correct? Left or right? So I need to pass left or right up here, and I either can change the name down here or up here. It's whatever I call it up there. Let's see if Python will let it run without that. Call it a global. I think it will not, but let's see. Because it's going to say, what is that? Enter and L. Okay, I'll say L. And see right there, it tries to make the call. You remember what I told you, that if a variable is only known in the main program and you call a function, it says, I don't know what left or right is because you ask it in the main program. So line 10 in total LR, it says left total plus or equal. Actually, it's given me the error with left total. So it says up here, it didn't give me a problem with left or right because I did the if statement here. It's given me an error on left total, and it says it doesn't know what left total is. So I can remedy that in one of two ways. I can take these and put those at the top inside my function. And then it's going to know what those are, right? And I don't need them, do I? But then what happens? I need to print them out down here. What do you think? If I run it like this, what do you think is going to happen when I print out left and right total? What are they set to? Yeah, they're not going to have anything in them. So let's run it. It shouldn't give us an error. It should just not print out anything. Let me see if that's correct. So it should print out left total should be 2 and right total should be 1, right? So it says name error, left total is not defined because I took it out of the main. So I can either print it, I can give them, I have to pass those back. So that might not be a good way to do it, is to put them up there. Let's put them back down where they were. So what's another remedy for that? What I can do is I can define left and right total as a different variable. So I can say, make this one left total plus equals. So maybe I want to make them, let's do this. Let's say LT equals 0 and RT equals 0. And so here, this would just say LT, and this would just say RT, right? So that's what they're defined in as there. So what do I need to return? Correct. So I have to return them. And so I'm going to return RT, comma, LT. And what do I have to do down here to my call? I have to put variable names over here, right? So I have to say right total. Which one am I passing first? RT. So I'd say right total, comma, I think this works this way. Let's see if Python lets us do it this way. It should pass the first one back to the first one, and the second one. Oops, where's that saying that at? Expected. What did it say it expected? It said expected indent. Oh, that's right, because it is right here inside my while loop. Okay, so let's go here and try it again. So I'm going to put, I'm just going to do a short one, L, L, R, X. So it didn't count my left ones, but it counted my right ones. So it won't let us pass back that way. Let me see. I know I did that before. Let's see how I did that. Oops, sorry about that. You were still looking right, Caitlin. Let me see here. Where'd they go? Okay, so there is a way somehow. I think I have a turtle program where we do that. I maybe don't need the comma, because you see what it did. It only kept the right total, and it didn't pass back the left total, right? Correct? Do you see what I did? Because when it printed out, it said 0 left-handed students and 1 right-handed student. So something happened. Anybody pass 2 in Python? Let me show you. I think in my turtle when I do that. It's syntax. All about the correct syntax. Fundamentals. turtles. I think it's in maybe this one. Okay, let me see if I pass 2 back here. Find square return. No, this one never does do it either. Okay, I'm gonna look it up on Google. Anybody look it up? Find out. Returning 2 variables in Python from a function. How to return multiple values from a function in Python. Can I return 2 values? Multiple return. Python functions can return multiple variables. These variables can be stored in variables directly. A function is not required to return a variable if it returns 0. Okay, so where's this at? Here it shows us in Python, return sum. Okay, here's where they're returning name, age, country. Okay, so how did they do it? Oh, just like we did, name, age, country. I thought that was right. So something didn't happen. What didn't happen? I thought I did it right. Okay, so it's telling me file, where's my recent? So does anybody see what I did wrong? Okay, if left, if it's left, if it's an L, it should be adding to LT. If it's an R, okay, what I'm gonna do to see what's happening, here's a good way to debug. I'm gonna say print RT, comma, LT before, oops, I go down there. Okay, so I'm gonna debug that way. Let's see. Did anybody's work? Anybody that's doing it, did it work? L. Oh, there it did it each time. Enter. Oh yeah, look, it's only adding to. Oh no, it added to the LT. That's right. Okay. L R R. Oh, look what it does. It's zeroing out.
Yeah, that's what.
You saw it, Gabriel. See there? That's, look, this is what's happening. Okay, every time it runs the function, it zeroes them out, right? So I can't do that at the beginning. I'm gonna have to pass those in each time and pass them back each time. Okay, let's do this. I didn't mean it to be this complicated, but this is a good learning experience. Okay, so here's what's happening. It's 0, it started them out 0, which is fine. Then it goes down here and it makes a call. And when it returns, I'm gonna have to do my accumulators for left and right. I think this is what I'm gonna have to do. So left and right. Anyway, tell me what you need to do. Okay, so look, when I pass them back, I'm passing right total in here. So if I was to, and I'm passing left total here, so it'll either be 1, 0, or 0, 1, right? So I need to add to whichever total. So I've got to do this again. So this wasn't a really good function to create out of this one because it's very confusing on passing back and forth. So if I was to make it work, I'm going to have to each time have another variable down here. So I'll just call this, I'm going to leave these as RT main. Oops. Main and LT main. I was going to let y'all go. Main equals total LR. So then those are going to have to add to. So here I'm going to have to say left total plus equals LT main and right total equals RT main. Oops, plus equals. Is anybody following? Think this will work? Oops, I need to make that a capital T. Okay, let's see what happens. Run. Let's see. Okay, L. Nope, it didn't even work till I get out of there. RT main. Oh, all it's saying is this LT was referenced before it was defined. So I have to leave these back in here. LT equals 0 and RT equals 0. I believe that's what it was telling me. L, yep, L, R, and X. There we go. We did it. It worked. Okay, so I had to add, now here's where it really shows you what I was saying about functions, that only the variables, you have to track them in a function as if it's the whole program by itself, because it doesn't see the names of the variables down here. So our main program starts right here. Right? Let me take this and go. So it says in our main program, so it's going to skip all of that. It's going to come down here, say right totals equal to 0, left totals equal to 0, which is what, those are the accumulators that are used ultimately to print out, right? I'll send this to you because I think you didn't get all of it. Oh yeah, you got all of it, I guess. I don't know if you can get it all on your phone taking a picture yet. Okay, so we did right total equals 0, left total equals 0. Then we have our control variable being set right here. Control variable initialized, right? And then we have our start of our while loop, start and test control variable, right? So that's what this while loop does. Actually, this could go down here. Let me put it here where it'll make more sense. Goes right here. It's a comment. Okay, so then we had to rename these so that when they're dumped in from the function, we can add them or accumulate them with the accumulator that stays there. Because if we don't, when it comes back up and calls the function, when it goes around the loop again, it calls the function, it's going to zero these out. So it's not going to pass the right ones. Okay, so let me do this. File, save as. Oh, I've probably already ruined it anyway. Left, right function. I think I've saved it over that other one anyway, but okay, so let me go into MindTap and I will put this in there for you. I mean into Canvas. Okay, so right here's home. Module 3, I'm gonna add it for you and then you can have it. New file. You won't actually have this complicated on the test. If you can do this one, you'll be able to do the test, okay? So here, oops, why does it not give me the chance to select new file, come on. Guess it's not gonna let me add it right now without adding it here. Let me go down here to files, to do, oops, it's up here. No, come on. Where's that at? Add. There it is. Now it's going to choose file. File 19. Where's that at? Fundamentals. And it was in here, here, chapter 5, and it's called, come on, move that out of the way. It was this one, open, and now add item. Okay, so it should be in Canvas at the very bottom, says left or right function.py. So if you want that one that we just did, I don't know what that little line is. It should be in there. All right, so if are there any questions on project 3? Because that has to be done before you come to class on Monday, because it has a due date of 9:30, okay? If you don't post it before 9:30, then you won't get full credit for it when we do it in class. We'll work it in class. Samuel, did you have a question?
Actually, it's about project 3. I'm having confusion about.
What about it? Because somebody else might have that question.
Okay. So I'm looking at like I don't really have necessarily like on the instructions how I'm trying to
Make it,
build
it.
in my mind, but
Okay, so you're gonna have an outer while loop, and then you're gonna have an inner for loop that's gonna, and in that for loop is gonna accumulate.
The 3 prices, right?
That's right.
3 different discounts.
And so your discount, yeah, that's gonna be
So
your,
it's gonna have like day 1 discount 50% off. Day 2 discount 30% off.
yeah, and actually you can, to do it in one calculation, you can take, like, if it's 15%, then you can multiply the original t-shirt price times 85%. And then that gives you, if it's 15% off, then can't you multiply it times 85% to get the actual cost, right? So you do that. Then the second one said how much off? Another
30% off.
Okay, 15% off. Okay, so then you would take the day 1 price instead of the original price and multiply it times 85. Yes. Yeah, that's why we said times 85. He meant a total of 30% off the original. That's correct. You're correct. It's 15% off of the second. That's what I was saying. But you are right, John.
I was wondering about the enter 999. I'm trying to think of
You were wondering about the what?
the 999, the exit, basically the exit code, like 999.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's your outer while loop. So when,
Is that like the range of the while loop?
so you would have your control variable input at the before it.
Or is it like an exclamation point equals 999?
Yes, not equals to 999. Yeah, that's it. All right. So let me stop this.